When Judge Edward Chen burst out laughing at Elon Musk's defense, the courtroom erupted. But what nobody realized was that Musk had just baited them. In the next 72 hours, Musk would pull off a courtroom maneuver so outrageous, so unprecedented, that it would leave even the SEC scrambling for cover. This wasn't just about winning a case anymore. It was about flipping the entire U.S. legal system on its head. And trust me, you're not going to believe how he did it. The courtroom buzzed with tension as the government's star prosecutor, Olivia Sanderson, rose from her chair. She didn't waste a second. "Your Honor, at the heart of this case is not just a tweet," she said, her voice slicing through the room. "It's a reckless abuse of market trust by the world's richest man." All eyes shifted to Elon Musk, seated calmly at the defense table. Almost too calm for someone facing what experts were calling the biggest securities case of the decade. The accusation was brutal. Musk had allegedly misled millions of investors by announcing, without board approval, without funding documentation, that he was taking Tesla private at $420 a share. Billions of dollars had evaporated and reappeared in wild market swings within hours. Pension funds, college savings, small investors, all caught in the whiplash of Musk's 280-character storm. But this time it wasn't just about shareholder losses. Prosecutors claimed Musk's behavior threatened the credibility of the entire U.S. financial system. "If billionaires can bend markets with memes and jokes," Sanderson thundered, "then no investor is safe." Even the courtroom's marble walls seemed to absorb the weight of her words. Judge Edward Chen, sitting high above, tried to maintain a neutral face, but anyone watching closely could see the faintest smirk tug at the corner of his mouth, a hint of what was coming. Was Musk about to be crushed under the might of the federal government, or did he have another outrageous move hidden up his sleeve? The stakes weren't just Musk's fortune or Tesla's stock price. They were bigger. They were existential, and no one, not even the judge, was prepared for how Musk would flip the entire case upside down. The moment Musk walked into the courtroom, it felt like the air had changed. It wasn't just another legal battle. This was something bigger. The tension was palpable. As the door swung open, all eyes turned to him, and it wasn't just because he was the richest man in the room. No, it was because Elon Musk wasn't just any defendant in this case. He was a symbol of a man who had broken the system, defied norms, and risen above what seemed like an impossible legal situation. Today was the day he'd either face the consequences or rewrite the rules entirely. Judge Edward Chen, known for his cool demeanor and stern rulings, sat at the bench with an expression that was hard to read. He'd been hearing about Musk's so-called unconventional approach for days now, but it wasn't until the courtroom was filled with all the major players, lawyers, investors, tech journalists, that the true drama began. The case? A class action lawsuit from disgruntled investors who felt burned by Musk's sudden social media outbursts. They claimed his tweets about securing funding for Tesla stock had cost them millions. But Musk, ever the master of unpredictability, wasn't backing down. He stood tall at the podium, hands calmly placed on either side. His voice, when it cut through the silence, was steady. Too steady. "Your Honor, I am here today to fix something that was never my intention to break," Musk said, his gaze sharp, unwavering. But this time he wasn't apologizing. No, Musk had come with something entirely different up his sleeve, something that would change the entire course of the trial. Before the judge or anyone in the room could respond, Musk continued, "I offer no excuses, but I do offer something real, a restitution fund, $3 billion available for anyone who can prove genuine harm, and that's just the start." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Lawyers exchanged skeptical looks. A multi-billion-dollar restitution fund for investors? Musk wasn't asking to settle. He was proposing a solution that no one had seen coming. Not even Judge Chen, who visibly raised an eyebrow. "You're suggesting what exactly?" Judge Chen asked, though it wasn't really a question. It was more like a challenge. Musk smiled ever so slightly, as if he already knew the next move would leave everyone stunned. The courtroom fell into an eerie silence. It wasn't just the sheer scale of Musk's offer that had everyone on edge. It was the way he said it. His words were calculated, but there was something unsettling about them. His usual charisma was there, sure, but this time there was a layer of something darker beneath it, like he knew something the rest of them didn't. Musk wasn't just offering a solution, he was offering a lifeline to his image, and perhaps a loophole. "Your Honor," Musk began again, his voice calm but piercing, "I understand the gravity of the situation, but what I'm offering goes beyond money. It's about control. It's about ensuring that the narrative, the story we tell, doesn't get hijacked by what people think is the right way to do things." He paused, letting his words sink in. Judge Chen sat there, eyes narrowed, watching Musk like a hawk. This wasn't just a defense strategy, it was a power play. Musk wasn't fighting to win, he was fighting to redefine the entire game. "The restitution fund is just the beginning," Musk continued, his tone now even more cryptic. "I want this court to understand one thing. I'm not going to let this case be a footnote. This is about accountability, yes, but it's also about showing the world how we do things differently. We can either follow the old rules or we can change them." The room was still, but it wasn't calm anymore. The energy had shifted. What had started as a straightforward legal matter now felt like something much bigger. Musk wasn't just offering a settlement. No, he was changing the conversation. And the question on everyone's mind now was simple. What exactly was he planning? The courtroom was thick with tension as Elon Musk stood at the center of it all, his face unreadable. The air felt heavy, like the moment before a storm. Everyone was waiting for him to speak, and when he finally did, what came next was beyond anything anyone could have predicted. "Your Honor," Musk began, his voice steady but carrying an undeniable weight, "I'm not going to drag this out any longer. I'm offering more than just a settlement. I'm offering a new way forward for both myself and those affected by my actions." You could feel the collective gasp in the room. Lawyers shifted nervously in their seats. What was Musk about to say? Was he conceding defeat, or was this something entirely different? And then Musk dropped the bombshell. "I'm setting up a $3 billion restitution fund," he said, almost casually, as if he were announcing a new product launch. "Anyone who can show they were financially harmed by my tweet will be compensated. No questions asked, no strings attached, a total payout, no bureaucracy, no delays." The courtroom fell silent. The audacity, the scale of it. This wasn't a typical corporate apology. This was Musk, doing what Musk does best, thinking bigger than anyone else in the room. He wasn't just fighting back against the system, he was overhauling it. "I'll also establish a $2 billion trust for the SEC," Musk continued, his eyes scanning the room, "to enhance securities enforcement and improve investor education. This is about fixing a broken system, not just paying lip service to it." The SEC had fought long and hard for their victory, and now Musk was offering them a billion-dollar solution. The stakes just kept climbing, but Musk wasn't done. He wasn't here just to settle. He was here to reshape the conversation entirely. With the same cool confidence he displayed when launching the Tesla Roadster into space, Musk spoke again. "Lastly, I'm going to surrender my Tesla stock options for the next 3 years. Instead of keeping them for myself, I'll direct them toward Tesla's factory workers." The room buzzed with disbelief. A move like this, giving up control of his wealth to support the people at the bottom of the ladder, it was unheard of. Was he just trying to make a point? Or was this something deeper? A challenge to corporate America's entire model. At this point, Judge Chen was leaning forward, his face a mixture of confusion and intrigue. How could Musk afford to make such a radical gesture? More importantly, was he serious? Musk, as calm as ever, finished his statement. "I'm not asking for any leniency. This is just what I'm doing. It starts tonight." The courtroom erupted into chaos. This wasn't just a settlement anymore. This was a declaration of intent, a move that no one had seen coming. The man who had been laughed at just hours ago had completely rewritten the rules of corporate accountability. And the question now on everyone's mind was, how would the court and the world respond? Stay tuned, because what happens next will leave you speechless. The courtroom was in chaos. The once tense but orderly atmosphere had quickly turned into a maelstrom of disbelief and frantic murmurs. Lawyers scrambled to whisper urgently amongst themselves, and even the normally composed SEC representatives looked like they'd just been hit by a truck. No one was prepared for what Elon Musk had just proposed. Judge Chen, whose stoic face had turned redder with each word Musk uttered, now stood motionless. His gavel was gripped tightly in his hand, but his usual authoritative command had faltered. This wasn't just a case anymore. This was something entirely new, something that no judge, no matter how seasoned, could have ever predicted. Musk's proposal was so radically different, so audacious, that it seemed to erase the very idea of traditional justice. $3 billion in restitution, $2 billion to the SEC, surrendering his stock options for the benefit of Tesla workers. The numbers alone were staggering, but the motive behind it all was even more bewildering. Was Musk trying to buy his way out of trouble, or was this a genius move to shift the entire narrative away from guilt and blame and instead focus on action? The SEC, who had been hell-bent on punishing Musk, suddenly found themselves in a no-win position. How could they reject such a generous offer? Rejecting it would not only seem petty, it would imply that they valued a legal victory more than actual compensation for the people harmed by Musk's infamous tweet. But accepting it? That would undermine the very foundation of securities law and create a dangerous precedent, where the wealthy could essentially bypass accountability by offering massive sums of money. And then there was the court of public opinion. It was already starting to shift. News outlets had picked up on the story, and social media was buzzing with shock and awe. Was this a victory for Musk, or was it just another clever maneuver to sidestep real consequences? Judge Chen called for a brief recess, but the questions swirling in everyone's minds were just beginning. Would the court approve Musk's proposal? And if they did, what did that mean for the future of corporate accountability? The drama wasn't over yet. It was only just beginning. As the courtroom emptied for the brief recess, the tension was palpable. Everyone knew that something unprecedented was happening. Elon Musk, with his unorthodox approach, had thrown down the gauntlet, not just to the plaintiffs, but to the very fabric of how corporate justice worked in America. The courtroom doors closed and the whispers began. Outside, legal experts, reporters, and even casual observers were in a frenzy. Could a billionaire really sidestep a legal battle by offering more than the law could impose? Judge Edward Chen sat at his bench, staring at the papers in front of him, his face a mask of concentration. No one had ever put him in this position before. Musk had done something far beyond the realm of what was expected or even conceivable in a legal battle. His proposal wasn't just a financial settlement. It was a game-changing challenge to the very system of justice that had held sway for centuries. For a man like Judge Chen, who had presided over countless high-profile cases, this was uncharted territory. Musk's actions weren't merely about money. They were about control. Control over the narrative, control over the outcome, and most dangerously, control over what justice meant in an era dominated by extreme wealth. Musk had put forth a compelling argument. Why go through years of litigation when he could offer a solution that provided immediate restitution to the victims of his actions? Why drag out a trial when he could establish an independent fund that would distribute far more money than a court judgment ever could? But the judge wasn't so easily swayed. This was no ordinary case, and Chen knew he couldn't make a decision based on his usual legal reasoning alone. The stakes were higher now, not just for Musk, but for the entire structure of corporate law. Chen's challenge was daunting. He had to balance the traditional aims of securities law, which demanded accountability, with the undeniable reality that Musk's offer would benefit those harmed in a way that a typical court ruling never could. His decision would shape the future of corporate justice in America, and as he reviewed the details of Musk's proposal, the weight of that responsibility bore down on him. Would he uphold the law's strict traditional stance, or would he embrace Musk's groundbreaking and controversial path forward? The clock was ticking, and Judge Chen knew that, whatever he decided, history was watching. When the court reconvened after the break, the atmosphere had shifted. It was no longer just a courtroom drama. It had transformed into a test of the very foundations of legal authority. Musk, the infamous entrepreneur known for pushing boundaries, had just presented the court with an offer so extraordinary that even the most seasoned lawyers could hardly believe their ears. A $3 billion restitution fund for investors, a $2 billion trust for the SEC to enhance enforcement, and a complete reallocation of his Tesla stock options to factory workers. Judge Chen knew this wasn't just about the legal case anymore. It wasn't about who wins or loses. It was about what this moment would mean for the future of the judicial system. Could he approve a plan that was, in essence, a deal brokered by wealth and power? Or would he risk letting this opportunity slip away in favor of a drawn-out battle that could end up benefiting no one? The plaintiff's attorneys were visibly frustrated, huddled together, whispering urgently. How could they, in good faith, continue their fight when the solution Musk proposed was so much more generous than anything they had ever hoped for in a court ruling? Musk had effectively outmaneuvered them by presenting an offer that made their legal victory seem irrelevant. And then there was the matter of accountability. No matter how substantial Musk's offer was, would it be enough to satisfy the core tenet of justice? The plaintiffs had demanded more than money. They wanted to see Musk held accountable for his actions, to see him admit guilt, and to have a formal finding of securities fraud. But Musk was offering money without guilt, restitution without the public shaming that the plaintiffs had initially sought. For Judge Chen, this was an impossible dilemma. On the one hand, the offer was unprecedented in its generosity. On the other, it was a challenge to the very principles of justice that he had spent his career upholding. Would he accept Musk's offer and make history? Or would he reject it, sending the case into a legal battle that could drag on for years? Whatever the decision, it was clear. The landscape of corporate justice was about to change forever. As the court session wrapped up, the media exploded with excitement. The entire world was watching, and everyone had an opinion on what had just happened. News outlets, social media, and even the tech world were buzzing with one burning question. What was Judge Chen going to do? Headlines flooded in. Musk's billion-dollar move, a legal revolution or a trick? Elon Musk offers $3 billion to settle lawsuit. Should he be allowed to buy his way out? The media frenzy was unlike anything anyone had seen before. This wasn't just about a CEO defending his actions. This was about a new era in how the law might treat the ultra-wealthy. On one hand, there were those who praised Musk for his bold, almost unbelievable offer. Tech enthusiasts and Musk supporters hailed him as a visionary, someone who could think outside the box and challenge the very way justice was traditionally handled. They argued that his plan was the best solution, far more effective than any drawn-out legal battle that would have benefited no one in the end. But on the other hand, critics were furious. Many felt that Musk had simply used his immense wealth to buy his way out of the situation, avoiding any real consequences. Politicians like Senator Elizabeth Warren were quick to call out the injustice of a system that allowed someone with Musk's resources to bypass the usual rules. Social media exploded, with tweets and posts flying back and forth. Some questioned the morality of the entire situation, while others debated whether Musk's financial power should even allow him to make such an offer. By the end of the day, the conversation wasn't just about Musk anymore. It was about the system, about wealth, and about what justice truly meant when the rich could change the game entirely. The courtroom was electric as the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. The tension was almost unbearable. After hours of debates, back-and-forth arguments, and heated discussions in the media, the final showdown between Elon Musk and Judge Chen was about to happen. As Judge Chen took his seat, all eyes turned to him. The courtroom was silent, waiting for the decision that would shape the future of corporate law and justice. Musk sat confidently at the defendant's table, his usual calm demeanor intact, but there was a hint of something more: anticipation. His fate, and perhaps the fate of billionaires' power in legal battles, rested on the next few minutes. Judge Chen spoke first. His voice was steady, but everyone could sense the weight of his words. He began by acknowledging the extraordinary nature of Musk's offer. The $3 billion restitution fund, the $2 billion for the SEC, the Tesla stock options being surrendered to factory workers, it was all unprecedented. But the question on everyone's mind remained: was this a fair resolution, or was Musk just trying to avoid the consequences of his actions? Musk's proposal is bold, but it is also unconventional, even by the standards of corporate law, Judge Chen said, his eyes fixed on Musk. However, in my evaluation, this isn't just about the law. It's about what's best for the people affected by these actions, the investors who were harmed. And in that, Musk's offer might just be the swiftest and most effective solution. Gasps rippled through the courtroom as Judge Chen continued. But, he paused, letting the silence hang in the air, there is one condition. All eyes widened. What could possibly change the game now? Musk leaned forward, his eyes never leaving Judge Chen's. "I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this right, Your Honor," he said. Judge Chen nodded slowly. "Then I will accept your offer, with one modification. This court will still make a formal determination of fault, not as a punishment, but as a matter of record. This way, the system will not be seen as being bypassed by wealth, even if the financial restitution is unprecedented." Musk's expression didn't change. This was the compromise. He would take responsibility, but it wouldn't come with the devastating consequences of formal legal findings. The court's decision echoed in the media, sparking yet another wave of discussions on the evolving relationship between wealth and law. The dust settled quickly, but the fallout from the courtroom drama continued to stir up controversy. Musk's unconventional move had shocked not only the court, but the entire world. Within hours of Judge Chen's ruling, the news was everywhere. Elon Musk had bypassed a potentially disastrous legal verdict, opting for a settlement that no one saw coming. Musk had made history, but not in the way most people expected. Instead of dragging the case on for years or settling for a smaller financial penalty, Musk had rewritten the playbook entirely. By taking immediate action, a staggering $3 billion restitution fund, millions for the SEC's technology and education, and giving up his personal stock options, he had created a solution so big that the legal consequences felt irrelevant. While some hailed it as genius and proof that Musk was a master at handling crises, others saw it as a dangerous precedent. Senator Elizabeth Warren made her voice heard, criticizing the settlement as a prime example of how wealthy individuals can buy their way out of serious consequences. "If you're worth billions, you can rewrite the rules," she said, drawing a line between the rich and the rest of the population. Meanwhile, in the corporate world, executives were left scrambling. Musk's maneuver had proven that when you have enough power and resources, you can bend the system to your will. Law firms rushed to analyze how this strategy could be replicated in other high-profile cases. For them, it was clear. Musk had set a new precedent. As for Tesla, the stock prices shot up by 4.7% in the wake of the decision. Employees were thrilled about Musk's decision to redirect his stock options to them. The factory workers, who had often been overlooked, now saw a very public sign that their hard work had finally been recognized. Musk's legal drama had wrapped up, but the larger conversation was just beginning. Would this case change how corporate America approaches legal challenges forever? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. Elon Musk had just changed the game. So what do you think? Did Musk's bold move redefine the legal playbook, or did it expose a dangerous loophole for the ultra-wealthy? One thing's for sure. This isn't the last we've seen of this shocking courtroom showdown. If you found this story as mind-blowing as we did, hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Want more jaw-dropping updates like this? Subscribe and stay tuned because the next chapter in this saga could be even more shocking. You don't want to miss it.